Great to be here with you today. I'm Emily Lynn. I lead our industrials practice here at Pallantier, and it's very exciting to be speaking with an onboarding class. When I started at Pallantier 10 years ago, we actually called it indoctrination, which was maybe more true to form. But yeah, 10 years is a long time, and during this time, I've had a lot of incredible adventures. I worked on our BP project for about 2.5 years, helping them manage their wells more safely and efficiently. I learned more than I ever expected about high-scale time series data and physics-based models, and kind of grew the project from managing just a small group of wells in the North Sea to actually managing their global well stock of 9,000 wells globally. This is a project that took me from the tiny town of Aberdeen to the deserts of Oman to the North Slope of Alaska. I had the privilege of working on kickstarting our Army Vantage work. So this is focused on military readiness. And had the opportunity to present to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs at the time, General Mark Milley. So if you ever have the opportunity to be kind of yelled at by a 4-star general while trying to write a window function in Contour, I couldn't recommend it more. During COVID, I was working with a lot of our manufacturing clients, especially those that produce PPE. So really helping them navigate the major disruptions, the multinational meltdown of their network, and trying to understand, kind of see how their systems and processes were so fragile, and see how our system could become integral to helping them basically reallocate and develop a new plan for their production. I think maybe like some of you, I first came to Pallantier because of the product. I had gone to see a conference and I saw a demo of Pallantier on a 5% sample of Medicare claims data, which was a data set that I knew very well. And I couldn't believe, the things that they were doing, how intuitively people could interact with the data. And I thought, I have to work here. But 10 years onward, I still love our products and the things that it enables our users to do. But I've learned actually that the mission is really why I stay. So to talk to you a little bit about that today, I'm going to take you all the way back to Seoul in 1953. The soldier in the second photo there is my maternal grandfather. So he deployed to Korea as a private in a field artillery regiment under UN command. The Korea that he knew, the economy was small. It was largely agrarian. Kind of peer economies were probably on par of like Haiti, Sudan, or Yemen. Limited opportunity happening in Seoul, a very different Korea that he knew. Fast forward 70 years, and the picture couldn't be more different. Korea is the world's 10th largest economy. It's a leader in industrial manufacturing, as well as art and culture. The second picture there is me and my colleague Hind with our client on top of the world's largest LNG carrier that's being built in Mokpo shipyard. The third photo is a view from outside our office. It's right on the Cheonggae Canal, which is kind of this amazing urban development project that's going on in Seoul right now. And the last picture, if you can see through the COVID masks, are me and Dr. Karp kicking off our project with HD Hyundai. We have the CEO and chairman and our sponsor from HD Hyundai there. So, what a difference 2 generations makes. I think if my grandfather could see this, he would be so proud of the progress that Korea has made. And to me, Korea's trajectory is kind of the dream, right? It's like more prosperity, more freedom, therefore creating more opportunity. And I think the path to get there, it wasn't like straightforward or easy or guaranteed. It took a ton of innovation and risk-taking from the private sector in order to get to where they are today. But the outcome is that my peers in Korea are freer and more prosperous than either of our grandparents could have ever imagined. And so I think that it's a world of opportunity that's worth fighting for. And as you probably gathered, our business at Pallantier is highly heterogeneous. We've got a lot of different things going on, a lot of different types of clients, a lot of different types of work on different projects. But I think the mission, whether you work in commercial or government, is still the same. I see our mission as promoting freedom and prosperity through our technology. We serve the world's most important institutions from the West and allied nations, and we help them operate more efficiently, exercise their competitive advantage, and overall increase their ambition. So this is my hope, that what we're able to do is to create a world with more opportunity than when we entered it. And I don't think we're alone in this kind of mission. I think there are actually a lot of companies that maybe think similarly to how we do, each with their own kind of different take on it. So, this is a quote from the Hyundai founder, Asan Chung, who's been instrumental in the Korean development story that you just heard about. And this is a quote that's emblazoned on the Hyundai headquarters walls. So he kind of acknowledges that, it's not just about Hyundai's success; it's also about Korea's success, and then that kicks off a virtuous cycle. Like if Korea succeeds, then Hyundai can also succeed. Similarly, you could look at Catherine Boyle, a general partner at the kind of famed venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz. She founded the American Dynamism Fund, which invests and backs companies that are in the national interest. Largely, this means kind of military, aerospace, and industrial manufacturing kind of sectors. But her thesis is that a strong America creates a strong world. And I think at Palantir, we have our own version of this, informed by our own experience. So I'll kind of talk you through kind of 3 different pillars that I think about. The first is that we believe that prosperity requires an expansive view. It's not just about a single country. It's not just about Korea or America. It's about the West and its allies. And then additionally, it's not just about backing new companies that are going to disrupt the space. It's also about ensuring and supporting customers or companies that exist. Dr. Karp writes a lot about this in his annual letters, and I love this quote. It's kind of this knowledge that we support institutions whose success is requisite for our own, and it's kind of this ethos of humility and gratitude that you don't always hear in business. And I think it's easy to take a lot of the institutions for granted until you can't. I think about my husband who left Lebanon, and in Lebanon, the electrical grid only supplies 4 hours of power a day. How can you run a hospital? How can you run a cold supply chain? How can you do something even as basic as traffic lights? And what's more, in Lebanon, they've been going through a massive financial crisis. For the 3rd year in a row, they've had over 200% inflation. The banks have prevented people from taking out their own money. There's a cap on a per month basis to prevent what would be almost an inevitable bank run. So it's kind of easy to take these institutions for granted until you can't. And I think that we need to support the systems that support life as we know it, and the people that support those systems. We want to support the people that keep the lights on, the people that keep our financial assets solvent. And I think that as you take a look at our clients, you could really see kind of that mission imbued in the people that we choose to work with. So we work a lot in hospitals and healthcare. This is everything from the NHS in England to the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. We work a ton in manufacturing and consumer goods. This category could actually be 20 categories, but this is everything from the lithium-ion batteries created by Panasonic Energy to the chicken that Tyson Food puts on your dinner table. We support the whole value chain in energy and utilities. So this is everything from those that produce oil and gas at BP or Exxon to those that actually distribute power like SoCal Edison or PG&E. We work also with the banks that provide us credit, the insurance companies that help mitigate risk. We work with transportation organizations that move people and goods by either car or rail or air. And this is just a small sample. Actually, there are a ton of customers, not all publicly available, but we work in over 40 industries supporting kind of these foundational missions. Now, you've probably gleaned this from the slide with all the logos, but just to round out the point on prosperity being expansive, this is a map of our offices, and it roughly tracks to a map of the West and its allies, and I hope that this footprint grows. I think maybe the first thing that people say or clients say when they see this is wow, you have a lot of offices relative to the number of employees that you have, which is true. We are aggressively forward deployed, and I think that we need to be near our clients and their problems, which brings me to the next pillar. Maybe some of you, like me, grew up in the fantastic suburbs of America where freedom feels God-given. But I don't think you need to look too far back in history to my maternal grandfather's struggle in Korea or my dad fleeing war-torn Vietnam to know that it's that. Freedom is not guaranteed. It's not a one-time pledge. It's not we enshrined it in 1776 and we're good. It's something that, at Palantir, we believe and we recognize that it's this ongoing daily commitment. It's less a law and more a culture. And so it's this daily commitment to truth, to individual empowerment, to action. And I think that's why we basically obsess, and that's a dramatic word, but I really mean it. We really obsess over individual decisions. Like, how can we take a look at what decisions people are making? How do we bring data to that to make them more grounded in truth? How do we bring the best of models and AI to inform those decisions? How do we measure those decisions? Was it a good decision? Was it a bad decision? It's truly an obsession. And it's different to how other people might approach this kind of same problem. It's not like we're going to do a portfolio investment. Like, we really think that this is something that needs to happen every day at the atomic level of decisions and actions. If you have a spare hour, you should definitely watch Shyam's testimony in front of Senate. It triggered one of my favorite ever tweets, which was like, wow, the Pallantir CTO is metal AF, which is like pretty on brand for Shyam. And he'll talk a lot about kind of some of the themes that I've touched on. He'll hit pretty heavily on strengthening individuals as a core element in kind of promoting freedom. And as he's saying, strengthening individuals, what I hear for my job is prioritizing the users and understanding the users. And we have like incredible users. I think this is one of the best parts of the Echo job or the Delta job, is getting to work alongside these people. These are warfighters on the battlefield, underwriters at insurance companies, supply chain managers at humanitarian organizations, and we get to work alongside them. And it's this kind of beautiful mind meld where we're bringing our expertise in data, models, systems, and they're bringing their expertise in something that a craft that they've honed for usually many years. And so we're able to work together to create these workflows that are more scalable, more rigorous, more competitive, and provide them with this kind of software advantage. And what that means is that like when you can bring those things together, when you're singing in harmony, then you can kind of take on new heights and like problems that actually we don't know how to solve, that there isn't just like a off-the-shelf solution where set it and forget it. Like, we work very closely with the utilities in California that are fighting an emerging and changing wildfire threat. We work to develop a rollout plan for the COVID vaccine in both the US and the UK. These were not like already solved problems that you could just like set and forget. It took a lot of deep engagement. I've had the pleasure to work with a lot of users quite closely. So I'll tell you maybe some of their stories. This is Carlos. When I first met him years ago, he was a petroleum engineer on the Thunder Horse platform in the Gulf of Mexico, working for BP. Since then, he's gotten like a much bigger team, a much fancier title, but he's one of like the most incredible analytical minds that I've had the opportunity to work with. And to hear him talk about Foundry, he kind of sees it as like finally a system that can keep up at his speed of thought. His like the limit is only our imagination, and I think that's like a really exciting thing to be able to be a part of, to allow him to use data and models in a way that just like fits to how he thinks about it. It basically takes this burden off of him and allows him to do kind of the value creating work that he knows how to do. This is John Rickerman. He works at Jacobs Engineering and oversees a lot of wastewater treatment plants. He's probably one of the few people that can make wastewater treatment seem actually like really exciting. And for him, for his teams, a lot of times it's fixing problems. This thing broke, go fix it. This thing broke, go fix it. But with Foundry, what he's saying is it allows them to be just way more proactive. And he said that even some plants that he thought were like running pretty well could actually be run better. So again, it's this kind of idea of like we can achieve new heights with the technology. This is Horacio, the director of patient services and a registered nurse at Tampa General Hospital. And I think that hearing him speak, it's kind of around this idea of like previously you had to bring together so much data in Excel and like WhatsApp and all these different systems. And it took like a long time just to get to the simple source of truth. And so, to be able to walk up to Foundry and in an instant have that, then again, that's kind of like frees him up to focus on, the patient flows, which is, what he is truly best at. So this brings me to the third pillar, which is around AI and how it compounds. I think AI in the hands of our users, as we're already seeing, is extremely powerful. It's a step change in efficiency, but also it compounds their knowledge. The more they use the model, the better it gets. And by extension, it should compound business strategy, and then by extension, it should compound values. So I think it's really critical that we are equipping the most important institutions with this incredibly powerful capability. And making sure that it's done in pursuit of the values of kind of freedom and prosperity. AI takes most, if not all. So this has been a lot. maybe it's like a little different from the presentation that you thought you were going to see. But I kind of wanted to leave you with this parting thought, which is that our mission is really hard. There are way easier jobs that you could have, but it is also fulfilling. Technology is this incredible lever that extends an individual's capabilities further. And I've been super grateful for my career here that has given me the opportunity to engage deeply with the most difficult problems in the world, in hopes that even I as an individual can help make some small change to create more opportunity and change the world for the better.